apologize. If I do something wrong, if I react in a way that's embarrassing, but I never get an apology for what they did.
I feel so happy that everyone knows my side of the story and people don't believe her side of the story.
With the internet, especially when somebody decides that they hate you, there's really not much changing their mind or anything that you can do to fix that. You know what? You're right.
You do things, Gabbie, to make people not be your friends.
YouTube is my therapy.
Célébrité et santé mentale, deux sujets qui, mis l'un à côté de l'autre, peuvent créer un cocktail explosif. Aujourd'hui, je vous propose de parcourir quelques controverses d'une influenceuse américaine qui, à cause de sa popularité, a vécu une véritable descente aux enfers. Installez-vous confortablement, car on va parler de Gabbie Hanna, l'influenceuse qui se rêvait diva.
Bonjour tout le monde, j'espère que vous allez bien. Moi, ça va.
Mais avant d'aborder ce sujet, je tiens à prévenir que je n'ai aucune compétence en psychologie. Je suis juste une meuf en slibard qui parle dans un micro. Donc quand je parlerai de certains troubles mentaux, ce sera sur base des déclarations de Gabbie et des recherches annexes. Mais n'hésitez surtout pas à me corriger en commentaire si vous trouvez que je suis une énorme qui raconte n'importe quoi. Née en février 1991, Gabbie Hanna a grandi en Pennsylvanie, aux États-Unis. Et contrairement à la plupart des influenceurs dont j'ai parlé jusqu'ici, qui ont commencé très tôt leur carrière sur YouTube, Gabbie a obtenu plusieurs diplômes, notamment en psychologie et en communication.
I graduated from Pitt. I have a degree in psychology, one in communications, and a minor in economics, but that stuff's really boring.
Après l'université, elle se lance sur la plateforme Vine, qui cartonne à ce moment-là. Elle se lance d'abord sous son propre nom, puis elle le change pour se faire appeler The Gabbie Show. Tout ça dans le but d'éviter que son activité en ligne ait des répercussions sur son parcours professionnel.
So what do you want to do for your birthday? It doesn't matter what we do. What's important to me is your presents. That's so sweet. So where are they? Wait, what? My presents. So you're cheating now?
Where'd you get that idea?
Really? Explain this.
Whoa, why are you on Tinder?
How's your day, sweetie?
Elle se fera rapidement une communauté, tourne avec d'autres Viners, et elle accumulera plus de 4 millions d'abonnés jusqu'à la fermeture de l'application fin 2016. Cependant, avant cette fermeture, comme d'autres Viners, elle créera sa chaîne YouTube en février 2014 sous le même nom, The Gabbie Show.
Welcome back! Welcome back! Welcome back! Welcome back! Welcome back!
Elle y postera majoritairement des storytime.
I'm walking down the hill and I see this boy with bleach blonde hair and tattoos and baggy shorts, and I think that looks a lot like Justin Bieber. And then I realized, yes, that is Justin Bieber.
Sometimes I get really nervous because I feel like I'm gonna run out of stories. And then I realize that as long as I keep on living, stupid stuff will keep happening to me. I'll keep overreacting about it, and then I'll keep having stories to tell you, so we're good.
Mais aussi des pranks et des sessions questions-réponses.
Excuse me. Could you not take pictures of my butt, please? Why are you so damn funny? Because my life is a joke. Did you always plan to be a Viner? Well, Vine didn't come around until about 2013, so no.
C'est durant cette période de sa vie qu'elle sera accusée de voler des blagues, des posts sur les réseaux sociaux, tout ce qu'il y a de plus classique pour ce genre d'influenceur.
It's like Christopher Columbus came to this land. He was like, I found India. And they were like, nope, not India. And he was like, you sure? I'm pretty sure it's India. And they were like, no, it's not India. And he said, India.
We came here, they're like, hi. And we're like, hey, you're Indians, right? And they're like, no. No, this is India, right? No, it's not. It's totally other place. You're not Indians? No. Ah, you're Indians.
Allégations qu'elle répondra en vidéo 6 mois plus tard.
I admit this, I didn't do it on purpose, but I did steal this joke. It's not cool, it's not okay. I don't want to profit off other people's work. The way I was painted was I'm a joke thief and I steal all my content and I built this entire platform on stealing jokes and I make all this money off stealing jokes, but I make a lot of content. At that point, I had over 100 YouTube videos, I had almost 800 Vines. To say that out of all of that content, because of that bit that I stole, it blows. It blows to have all of your stuff labeled as stolen and say that all of the money that you're making and all of the followers that you've gained is unjustified. That really blows because I really do put a lot of work into what I do on my own.
Mais cela ne suffira pas à freiner son ascension sur YouTube, car elle atteindra le million d'abonnés début 2016 et elle dépassera les 3 millions fin de cette même année. Mais c'est aussi à ce moment-là qu'elle se mettra à dos un des créateurs dont j'ai déjà parlé sur cette chaîne, Ricegum. Ricegum, c'est un autre youtubeur américain, et si vous n'avez pas vu ma vidéo sur son sujet, je vous la laisse en barre d'infos. Tout va commencer par ce tweet de Gabbie.
Si toute votre chaîne est construite sur le nom d'autres utilisateurs populaires pour le clickbait et des résultats dans les moteurs de recherche, je ne respecte pas votre chaîne. chaîne.
Suite à quoi, Ricegum s'est senti visé et est allé la trouver en DM.
Well, then I DM her saying, hey man, just at me next time, I'm pretty sure that tweet was about me. And she said, then honestly that's your own insecurity about it. Never assume what someone means. My tweets have never been and never will be directed at a single person. You may very well fall into this category, but that tweet wasn't with you in particular in mind, right? And what she's trying to say is, you know, Ricegum, your channel may fall in the category as I don't respect you, but that tweet wasn't about. Damn it, guys, it's pretty clear that the Gabbie show doesn't respect the channel.
Ensuite, il en profite pour donner son avis sur la chaîne de Gabbie.
2 months ago, she uploads another Ask Gabbie, and what do you know? 700,000 views in 2 months. I wonder why it has so many views. Oh, maybe because it says favorite position in bed. Wow, that's not clickbaiting at all. Actually, let's watch this video.
What's your favorite position in bed?
So let me get this straight. You make us sit through a 7-minute video hearing your annoying ass voice just for in the end to hear a 3-second clip about your favorite position, but plot twist, in the end you don't even tell us your favorite position. She posted a video called Hiking with Justin Bieber and Kendall Jenner. Alright, let's go back to her tweet. Didn't she say something about not respecting channels that use popular users to clickbait? And she just did that? Like, she's literally such a hypocrite, not to mention that story is probably fake as shit.
Et on passera le fait que Ricegum n'est pas vraiment la meilleure personne pour parler de contenu trash, surtout quand on se rappelle de ses streams Omegle où il filme des gens à leur insu.
So you know those messages you sent me saying that it was only streamed once and that it was not recorded and no one else would get it?
Oh,
well,
yeah.
I've been sitting here watching your stream and you replayed it.
Oh yeah,
and
no.
No, I don't want to hear it.
Mais sur Gabbie, on ne peut pas lui donner entièrement tort. Et si vous avez vu ma vidéo sur Ricegum, vous vous doutez que tout cela va finir en distract.
You had the subtweet, try to keep it on the low. Like if the fans didn't at me, I wouldn't know. I pass you in subs cause you're struggling to grow. I don't think there's anything bigger than your nose. How to get so big, can you please tell us? No so long, big bird is jealous. Even Pinocchio said it's absurd. Wait, is it Gabbie or the Fruit Loop bird?
Le même jour, Gabbie décidera de répondre en vidéo, tout en utilisant exactement les mêmes codes que Ricegum.
I've made 100 YouTube videos and 800 vines. Yeah, one time I copied that one little line. So thanks for bringing that shit up, man. That was really sweet. But Rice, how do you explain this tweet? Or this tweet? Or this tweet? I've been thinking, and you're right, my channel slowed down a bit. So I'm gonna use your name and your picture so people will click this shit. I'm here for you. If you ever need a friend, just hit me up or call or answer my DM.
Et c'est probablement à partir de là que prendra racine la future altercation entre les deux. Le 28 mars 2017, lors d'une fête entre youtubeurs, Gabbie se met à poster des vidéos de la soirée sur Snapchat et en voyant Ricegum, elle décide de le défier dans une battle de rap.
Ricegum is here. I want to challenge him to a battle, but I know he won't do it, and it's Alex's birthday, so I don't want to like ruin the party, you know what I mean? But honestly, if Ricegum ever wants to like live freestyle battle, like drop a beat right now, bitch, I'll murder you.
Ce à quoi Ricegum refuse, visiblement fatigué et mal à l'aise.
Hey Ricegum, I just challenged you to a live battle on Snapchat. Would you do it? Live rap battle. Why wouldn't you do it?
No, I don't want to do it.
Alright, so Rice doesn't have his ghostwriter today. It's fine. I think we can still battle. I think we're good. No? You don't want to do it?
On ne reverra Gabbie que quelques minutes plus tard, à l'écart du groupe, annonçant à ses abonnés que Ricegum est devenu violent et a explosé son téléphone.
Ricegum didn't think that joke was very funny, and he hit me in the middle of a party and shattered my phone. I can show you that in a sec. I guess my biggest thing is, if you make videos every single week where you're making fun of somebody, you can't take a joke? Like, let me get this straight. You say I have a big nose, I'm ugly, I'm a hypocrite, I steal all my content, I'm like all these horrible things. My voice is annoying. When I make a joke about your scandal and you hit me and break my phone. Apparently, Ricegum did send me money for my phone, which I don't have Venmo on my phone right now, the app, but so I haven't checked, but I believe that he sent it. And as soon as that kid said that he paid me, I just like blocked him because he was like FaceTiming me and like defending him. I was like, I don't want to talk to this kid, so I think he paid me. He grabbed me, like twisted my arm, I think I said that, and like held me down, and I have like those scratches like up here and on my wrist and arm, and like I had a big scratch on my leg. I don't want it to seem like I'm like blowing this up and like he like punched me in the face and like destroyed my phone beyond repair. No, it's like cracked screen, cracked camera, scratches and stuff.
À nouveau, je tiens à préciser, Gabbie semblait insistante envers Ricegum et n'aurait jamais dû chercher à le pousser autant, mais cela ne justifie en aucun cas de la violence physique. Ricegum a nié avoir frappé Gabbie, que ce soit sur les réseaux réseaux sociaux ou en vidéo YouTube.
If you guys haven't heard, the Gabbie show came out and said that I hit her and showed scratches and bruises as her evidence, right? First off, she left out a ton of important information and I did not hit her. Everyone thinks I smashed her phone because I can't take a joke, but that is definitely, I didn't even know what she was saying to me. I smashed her phone because my whole life I'm around a camera. But when I'm at a YouTuber party, that's my time away from YouTube, my time away from work. I can just relax there. So her coming up to me with the camera already on, didn't even ask me, made me a little bit mad. And when I told her to stop and she wouldn't, that made me even more mad, and that's why I reacted how I reacted. But I am so sorry, and that's where I was in the wrong for. I paid her phone back instantly and fixed my mistakes.
Il a d'ailleurs été appuyé par un autre influenceur, mais comme dans tous les dramas, chacun a choisi son camp. Et vous connaissez la chanson? Quelques jours plus tard, Ricegum sortira un clip pour roaster Gabbie.
Made it seem like I beat her ass, I lay a finger on that bitch at all. I just called my lawyer up and he told me he go get it solved. I thought she was high up, but the thing she doing is really low. This thought made a lie up, so fuck her and her shitty show.
S'en suivront alors toute une flopée d'interviews de la part des deux concernés.
Friend's birthday party. There's other YouTubers there. You know me, bro. I'm always like chill. I'm shy. I don't really talk to a lot of people. Do you really think I would really hit a girl in a public party with other YouTubers? But anyways.
Dude, I was fucking physically assaulted and my property was broken because of a Snapchat. Like, that's fucking assault, dude.
It looked like a bitch, or I could have did something about it, and I did something about it. I grabbed her phone and I smashed it. I was like, enough is enough, you little stupid.
So this person, for literally no reason at all, saying horrible shit about me, trying to hurt me for some reason. Like, those videos were malicious. Those weren't funny.
I feel so happy that everyone knows my side of the story and people don't believe her side of the story. Thank you to everyone that is still standing by my side.
I feel like from that point forward, people realized like, oh, no one has her back. I can say whatever the fuck I want. I can do whatever the fuck I want. Like, I was just a sitting duck because it was like, no one's ever gonna defend her. Dude, this dude assaulted her at a fucking party. Broke her property because he was mad that I challenged him to a rap battle.
But I mean, if you're gonna record me at a party when I'm off guard, when everyone knows, people don't bring out phones. Like these YouTuber parties, people know to not take out phones.
Et en fouillant un peu dans ce drama nul, on finit par remarquer que les deux exagèrent leurs propos ou mentent, que ce soit Gabbie sur la façon dont Ricegum l'a agressée, ou le fait que Ricegum dise que c'est une règle commune de ne pas filmer lors des soirées de youtubeurs, alors qu'il existe des vidéos où on le voit filmer à cette même soirée.
Is the hate still strong for him?
I've never hated him.
Parmi ses nombreux talents, certains connaîtront Gabbie Hanna en tant que chanteuse.
Just waiting for the place that I belong. I'm a satellite.
Bon, je dois avouer que c'est pas mon style de musique, mais quand on a écouté Alexandra Récent et Morgan Makeup chanter,
Je me souviens de nous, je me souviens de tout.
Je pense que toute musique peut vous paraître incroyable. Je mentionne aussi que Gabbie a sorti des recueils de poèmes, que je ne vais pas parcourir. Elle a eu un drama avec une autre créatrice qui aurait critiqué ce recueil, mais rien de spécial que je vais aborder ici. Donc parmi toutes ces nombreuses choses que Gabbie a faites dans sa vie, elle a joué dans Escape the Night, une web-série créée par Joey Graceffa, dans laquelle des youtubeurs voyagent dans le temps et doivent résoudre des mystères.
My name is Gabbie. I am a vaudevillian.
Gabbie jouera dans la saison 2 et reviendra pendant la saison 4.
She gives me a cupcake. It was delicious. She was offering us hot chocolate, and at first I'm like, should I eat this? Is it poison? And I'm like, you know what? If I gotta die in this house, I might as well go out with a cupcake. You know what I mean? Listen, it's gonna be okay. They're gonna help me, and they're gonna help you, and then we'll get out of this, all right? I am single again.
En juin 2021, l'un des producteurs de la série, Daniel Preda, déclare lors d'une session questions-réponses que Gabbie est l'une des pires personnes avec qui il a pu tourner.
Gabbie, I had issues with her. I also had issues with her on season 2. I don't think I've ever said her name publicly, but it's not really news to anyone. She was miserable to work with for the most part. There were good moments. If she was great on camera, which she was, and she was very entertaining, I forget about all that shit. And then season 4, she was a nightmare. I'm not going to expand upon that because I don't really care anymore. It was just hard. There were a lot of diva antics. There was a lot of yelling, a lot of screaming, a lot of unprofessional behavior. It was miserable, but it turned out entertaining on the show, so I can't really hold that against her.
Le 27 juin 2021, Gabbie sort une vidéo dans la même lignée que celle sur Ricegum, appelée Escape the Nightmare, afin de parler des conditions de tournage de cette série.
I'm so sick of this narrative that the first person to talk shit about it publicly is the person who just like wins, and you just have to apologize to that person and that's it.
Elle va surtout s'attaquer à Joey Graceffa, qui est entre autres youtubeur, vlogueur, comédien et qui était l'host de la série Escape the Night, mais aussi à Daniel qui a produit la série à partir de la saison 3, mais qui a aussi joué des petits rôles dans plusieurs saisons. Elle raconte que Joey et Daniel étaient ses amis et se place en tant que victime, comme ayant été trahis par ses potes dans des interviews qu'ils ont données au fil des années.
Season 4 was my least favorite to film by far.
Why?
Just because
Drama.
of this one person on the cast who just made it hell.
I truly, for real, thought Joey and Daniel were like my real friends. So this was a fucking knife to the fucking heart. I showed up to set, and like one of the things they promised was like, we promise we'll get you a really comfortable outfit. They were bragging that they were like spent all this money on this like beautiful silk, and I'm like, please just make sure I'm warm. I don't want to be in heels again. Like, dude, this is like literally playing physical sports outside. I show up on set, literally the exact same problem where I literally couldn't move my arms and I was feeling really restricted and like claustrophobic in it. All the shit that I was promised wasn't going to happen essentially. And then the other thing was I'm highly allergic to pretty much all metal except for like sterling silver, white gold. I'm wearing all of this fake huge chunky jewelry that did break me out in very like painful itchy hives. Then by the end of the first day I'm like, okay, there's literally no healthy food. There was like a taco on a flour tortilla with cheese. I like pulled Daniel aside and I was like, I understand it's the first day, but like please make sure that there's like the proper food tomorrow.
Dans les 2 jours qui vont suivre, Joey et Daniel vont poster chacun à leur tour une vidéo pour répondre à Gabbie.
The way that you acted on set of Escape the Night is why we are no longer friends.
My agent came back to me and was like, they want you to do season 4. I said, dude, I can't. Like, it was not an enjoyable experience for me. I do not want to embarrass myself like that again. So then Joey and Daniel are like, please, we really want you to be a part of the show. We loved you in season 2.
Nobody was begging you, girl. Your reputation was preceding you. Nobody was begging her to be on the show.
I also never begged or pleaded for Gabbie to be a part of the show. Yes, I wanted her to be in it because she was my friend at the time. Excuse me for giving you this opportunity, hiring you on a project that means so much to me. Okay, so moving on to the wardrobe that you had issues with. I don't remember forcing this outfit on you, Gabbie. I'm pretty sure you approved this during the first fitting. The issue is, Gabbie, you had 2 more fittings after we made you this custom look that you just didn't show up for. Offered to meet you at your music studio that you accepted, and when the costume designer, who was actually 9 months pregnant at the time, drove across town to go to your music studio, you stood her up. There was no way for us to make sure that your wardrobe fit until you showed up the first day of set and it didn't fit you. Surprise!
Need to meet my dietary restrictions.
You don't fill out the paperwork. How are we supposed to know what you want to eat? She was complaining. However, there were options there. There were always healthy options. As you can see in the trailer footage that I showed you, there are options even there. My stomach hurts so bad from eating shit I'm not supposed to. Did my agents tell you guys my meal requirements? And I said I'm not involved on the food side at all. I'm honestly like on the verge of tears. I'm so specific about food and I've been eating bad shit and feel fat and my stomach hurts from eating literally anything I can with substance.
Quand on fait pause pour vraiment lire la discussion, on voit bien que Daniel il insiste pour savoir ce qu'elle veut manger et pour faire le nécessaire. À part se plaindre, elle répond pas vraiment. Il faut quand même se dire que derrière tout ça, Daniel il doit gérer tout le reste. À aucun moment, il lui dit qu'elle l'abuse. Il essaye de faire avancer les choses et lui propose même d'aller lui chercher à manger dans un supermarché bio.
Also going to Whole Foods for a run if I can get you anything. I pulled this completely out of my ass. I wasn't going to Whole Foods. I'm like, let me appease Gabbie. Let me go make her some salads each day. It's not a big deal, even though that was not in my job description. So I'm like, let me just go to Whole Foods. I don't want her to be upset and I want to bypass any of this type of behavior and making people more uncomfortable. This female YouTuber who's been a long time friend, she came up to Joey and I and asked to be killed off the show as soon as possible because she was extremely uncomfortable with Gabbie Hanna and how she was acting on set.
The director and I met and were like, okay, this is not it. We need to kill her off the show as soon as possible because she was causing so much chaos that we just needed to get rid of her. So we planned the double death, which a lot of people were upset about, but now you know the real reason why there was a double death.
À l'écouter, on dirait vraiment que le principe c'est de foutre autant d'influenceurs que possible à un seul endroit, puis de voir qui tu veux virer pour que ça reste vivable. Je comprends vraiment pas pourquoi ce concept n'a pas été important en France, parce que franchement, je pense que ça serait banger.
I'm not sure who blank is, but can you please let her know that I haven't been refusing to do interviews and I was there in full glam for 5 to 6 hours before shooting to do them and was also waiting at lunch to do them, and every time someone was going to pull me they said never mind, we're not ready for you, because I think it sucks that my camp is being told I basically refuse to work.
honnêtement, la façon dont elle lui parle, je peux pas.
She also, in her video, complained a lot about the set hours. Girl, you did season 2, you knew what you were signing yourself up to, but I know you think that the world revolves around you, and how dare anybody make you wait? I mean, how dare we pay you thousands of dollars to sit in a luxury trailer and do nothing? And also, get to be on a show that's going to be a platform for you to maybe redeem yourself?
D'ailleurs, d'autres membres vont également prendre la parole en public pour défendre Joey et Daniel sur les réseaux sociaux.
A production assistant, who is this lovely girl, came in and told Gabbie that they're gonna need her on set in 5 minutes. She comes back 5 minutes later, she's like, hey Gabbie, sorry, we're gonna have to push you another 20 minutes, we're still running a little behind. The girl turns her back and Gabbie scoffs in a very loud way, you dumb f***ing cunt.
Le nombre de dramas de Gabbie Hanna est énorme. J'ai décidé volontairement de ne pas tout inclure dans la vidéo parce que je voulais faire une vidéo plus légère et plus simple par rapport à ces 2 derniers mois. Donc si je ne parle pas de tout, j'en suis désolée. Cependant, s'il y a une raison qui m'a poussée à faire cette vidéo sur elle, c'est pour le comportement déconcertant qu'elle a eu durant l'année 2022 sur cette magnifique plateforme qu'on appelle TikTok. Et je sais pas pourquoi j'ai ça ironiquement, vu que j'ai moi-même un compte TikTok. Le 22 août, soit un mois après la release de son album Trauma Queen, Gabbie va enchaîner des TikTok qui vont alerter ses abonnés sur l'évolution de son état mental.
What if I was the mother of God? What if I got to bring the good news of the second coming? God, please let me sleep, but I can't today because there's babies dying on the fucking street. Of babies on the street who adopted another baby on the street. 2 homeless babies adopting each other on the street.
I'm just trying to get people to care about the starving babies on the street, and if I have to scream and shout every day, I will.
She might just be the greatest love of all time. Go ahead, baby, gloat.
La seule chose rassurante, c'est que je pensais de base qu'elle était seule dans son état, jusqu'à ce qu'on finisse par voir une autre femme qui est probablement son attendante ou son aide ménagère. Mais clairement, même si Gabbie a cette personnalité très bruyante, la façon dont elle agit dans ce clip me fait un peu peur.
Sandwich today, what do you want to eat?
Oh,
What do you want for lunch?
Me. Todo me gusta.
No, you tell me!
Okay, good.
What do you, sandwich? Okay, cool.
Et en l'espace de 3 jours, on a le droit à plusieurs heures de contenu cumulé de TikTok de Gabbie qui danse, crie, chante et parle de religion et du fait qu'elle serait le retour de Jésus.
Sorry, bitches. Gabbie Hanna was the chosen one. Did I accept humbly with grace, humility, and strength the responsibility to save our world? It's actually kind of stressful being a woman of color in a white as fuck rich cunty neighborhood.
C'en est allé jusqu'à ce que la police frappe chez elle, car les voisins les ont appelés après un soir où Gabbie criait dans son jardin.
The cops just came to my door because they got a call saying that I was gonna hurt myself or somebody else, and then they asked me about some screaming in the backyard.
Et ce sera pas la seule fois où la police viendra chez elle.
The officers came for a wellness check, and I asked them if any of them wanted a hug, and they all said they wouldn't like one. God bless you, officers, and thank you for your service. Can I please tell you guys that when I was like, why am I in cuffs? They were like, so you posted like 100 TikToks. And I was like, okay. And they were like, people are calling us. And I was like, so I'm arrested?
D'ailleurs, c'est pas moi qui coupe les TikTok. Il y en a plein où juste elle parle et elle se coupe au beau milieu d'une phrase.
So in heaven, it's it's literally like a fairy tale. And I'm so excited to tell you. I'm literally your queen.
Et si je vous ai parlé de la sortie de son album un mois plus tôt, c'est parce que des gens ont nourri la théorie que tout cela n'était qu'un plan marketing un peu edgy pour promouvoir son album. Et les gars, si vous êtes motivés, il y a un TikTok avec un gros plan sur ses pieds. Elle poste aussi les footage de la caméra de surveillance devant chez elle, ce qui est super dangereux évidemment, et c'est peut-être ce qui va provoquer ce qui va suivre. La personne qu'on voit à côté de Gabbie, c'est un inconnu qui s'appellerait Nicolas. Apparemment, cette personne aurait frappé à la porte de Gabbie pour lui demander pour utiliser ses toilettes et elle aurait laissé entrer pour au final l'intégrer dans ses TikTok.
I was gonna go on a run for a guy who showed up at my house and was just feeling a little lost, asked to use the bathroom, and now we're gonna go for a run together. He asked to pray with me. It was really nice. And his text was, Gab, listen to me now. Get that man out of your house. How do you feel about that?
That's rude.
It's kind of rude, isn't it? My friend who texted me and told me to get the stranger out of my house, I think he meant well too.
Yeah, I think so.
But Nicholas is good. And we're gonna go for a run because we already prayed and had our coffee and listened to music.
Yes.
I'm so happy I met you this morning.
Yes.
Thank you for knocking on my door, Nicholas.
Yes.
You our brother in Christ.
Et autant c'était déjà étrange de voir Gabbie dans cet état second, mais c'est encore plus flippant de voir un total étranger à côté d'elle en train de faire pareil. Sauf que là où ce fameux Nicolas s'était présenté à Gabbie comme un gars qui passait par là, bah en fait, en vrai je sais pas comment vous introduire ça, donc juste regardez.
Alright everybody, I'm literally inside of the house right now.
Ce gars est en train de se filmer chez Gabbie. Et à vrai dire, il l'a même filmé avant d'entrer chez elle.
Oh, hi. Hi. Do you use your bathroom? Yeah, sure. Yeah. Come on.
Thank you.
Ça semble durer des heures jusqu'à ce que Gabbie décide de le foutre dehors.
Wait, Nick? I know you know who I am. Come on. Why did you lie to me this whole time? Why did you lie to me? That's for my acne, you dumb c***. Get the fuck out of my house. Now. Now. Now!
C'est une fois en dehors de chez Gabbie qu'il aura l'incroyable idée de lancer un live TikTok pour expliquer comment il avait atterri chez elle et pourquoi est-ce qu'il a fait ça.
A little Google search like where does Gabbie Hanna live? And I found out she lived really close to me. And when I noticed that it seemed like she was all alone and nobody was helping her, why did I act like I needed to use the bathroom? I actually did need to use the bathroom. I have video of me using the bathroom if you want it.
Et je sais honnêtement pas ce qui est le plus effrayant entre le fait qu'il soit vraiment allé chez elle, fait semblant d'être là par hasard, et l'assurance avec laquelle il dit qu'il n'y a aucun problème dans son comportement.
I googled it. That's interesting. It's weird to Google things now. Why did I film content there? Life is content. Yeah, I did leave my ID there. I'm not scared of anything. I didn't do anything illegal, so... I'm a stalker. Okay, well, why don't you Google her name, and you can find her house too, and then you'll be a stalker too.
Je veux pas trop m'avancer, mais ça ressemble énormément à un complexe du sauveur, vu que ni la police, ni les psys qui ont vu Gabbie ne veulent l'aider, alors forcément il restait que lui pour la sauver.
Everybody thinks they know what to do in this situation. It's really funny. Everybody thinks they know what to do. But I'm the only one who actually did something.
Sauf que clairement, entrer ainsi dans la vie de quelqu'un en pleine crise, c'est pas ça qui va l'aider, bien au contraire.
That's God's tongue licking her pussy, and this is her bleeding vagina. He parted the Red Sea, dude.
Après cela, Gabbie va continuer à alimenter son TikTok jusqu'au 24 août, puis tout va redescendre et s'arrêter. Ce n'est qu'une semaine après ces 3 jours intenses que Gabbie postera une série de vidéos pour expliquer ce qu'il s'est passé.
It was like 9:30 in the morning and I was on the phone with my friend. Some guy has one earbud in and he's kind of sweaty and he says I was just on a run and I was wondering, can I use your bathroom? So I was like, sure, you can use the bathroom. And then when he came out of the bathroom, I was still on the phone with my friend and he asked me if I wanted to hang out and he asked if he could go for a run with me and then he asked if he could pray with me. So as he kept pushing to hang out with me after I told him that I wasn't interested, I asked him basically, you know, do you have any friends? Like, are you okay? Because he was like shaking and now I know why. It's because he was doing something incredibly disgusting and manipulative and he was nervous about it. He told me he didn't have any friends and he was feeling really alone. So yes, I was manic. I am bipolar, no secret, I'm bipolar, but I've never experienced a manic state. I've only ever experienced a hypomanic state. So that was actually a brand new thing for me that I was experiencing in real time with all of you guys.
Gabbie confirme donc être atteinte d'un trouble bipolaire de type 2. J'en avais brièvement parlé dans ma vidéo sur Caroline Consnard, mais c'est un trouble qui, grossièrement, provoque des changements d'humeur. C'est pas une question d'avoir 2 personnalités, mais d'alterner entre des phases hautes de surexcitation, d'agitation, et des phases basses d'insomnie et d'état dépressif. Les TikTok de Gabbie ont été supprimés de son compte, et ont été compilés sur plusieurs chaînes YouTube. Après cette année-là, Gabbie ne postera plus grand-chose sur sa chaîne. Sa dernière vidéo était une vidéo d'elle nue dans sa salle de bain, qui datait de novembre 2021. Elle est d'abord revenue avec une chanson postée le 29 février dernier. Elle sera suivie une semaine plus tard d'une vidéo pour annoncer son retour après 1 an sans réseaux sociaux.
I really battled with myself on whether or not I was going to come back to the internet because being completely unplugged, I just don't know that I could ever explain like how good it was, but I'm going to do my best to put it into words.
Elle commence d'abord par dire qu'elle n'était plus sur les réseaux pendant 1 an, qu'elle ne regardait plus aucun contenu sur des écrans, puis elle enchaîne avec une pub pour sa dernière musique, son merch, son site, son Patreon et son Cameo pour faire des vidéos personnalisées.
My Cameo will be be linked on my website. So again, GabbieHannaOfficial.com. Sign up for texts and emails so that you'll be alerted when I actually do cameos. And they're gonna be really limited. So I'm only gonna be doing like 20 a week, probably, maybe less. So if you wanna be notified when I am actually doing new ones, go ahead and sign up for texts and emails. We as human beings created in God's image, the ultimate creator, we're meant to create, but we're not necessarily meant to profit off of it.
Est-ce qu'on viendrait pas de se taper 2 minutes de pub là? Donc en soi, je pense pas qu'elle ait fait 1 an sans réseaux sociaux. J'émets clairement des doutes parce que pour préparer tout ce dont elle a parlé en amont, je pense pas qu'elle était totalement sobre des réseaux.
So anyway, the rest of the year, I'm going in and out of downloading the apps, deleting the apps, downloading them, deleting them. So if something I'm saying is resonating with you and you feel like you need to delete your apps, God bless you. Go to GabbieHannaOfficial.com and sign up for texts and emails to be alerted when I put out new clothes or new music.
Et c'est quand même spécial de dire aux gens de supprimer leur application, mais n'oubliez pas de vous abonner à ma newsletter. En règle générale, ces commentaires sont divisés entre ces anciens fans contents de la revoir et ceux qui n'ont pas apprécié de l'entendre dire que de prendre un an de repos, ça repose.
Supprimez vos applications, mais inscrivez-vous sur mon site web. Ce n'est pas de l'ironie, c'est de l'hypocrisie. Une personne riche explique à quel point vous seriez plus heureux si vous preniez une année sabbatique pour vivre. On sait.
Au cours de ces derniers mois, les vidéos de Gabbie se sont résumées à des storytime et à des musiques, un peu comme au début de sa chaîne YouTube. Et sous les commentaires de sa chaîne, on voit souvent revenir des gens qui lui demandent de s'excuser pour le mal qu'elle a fait pendant ces dernières années. Et je me disais personnellement qu'elle faisait que les ignorer, à raison ou à tort, je suis pas dans sa tête. Et c'est ce que je pensais vraiment, jusqu'à ce qu'au moment où je recorde cette vidéo, Gabbie a sorti ceci, des excuses attendues depuis longtemps.
I feel like I owe a lot of people apologies.
Pendant 17 minutes, Gabbie va s'excuser globalement envers tout le monde, chanter un peu et parler de Dieu.
I need to apologize to all of my fans, anybody who ever supported me, for so many things, being inconsistent, for worrying you, for breaking promises, for being a bad role model.
D'ailleurs, on peut aussi retrouver Joey sous ses commentaires. Et c'est vraiment à ce moment-là qu'on voit bien le chemin parcouru entre ces vidéos où elle accusait tout le monde des dramas autour d'elle, sans jamais se remettre en question, et aujourd'hui où elle a envie de tout assumer. D'ailleurs, à ce jour, la plupart des vidéos que je vous ai montrées ont été supprimées, mais sauvegardées soit sur la Wayback Machine ou réupload par cette chaîne YouTube qui était encore active il y a 3 semaines. D'un point de vue statistique, ces vidéos ne font plus autant de vues qu'avant et son nombre d'abonnés baisse de jour en jour, mais cela ne semble pas freiner l'envie de Gabbie de continuer à poster du contenu et de supprimer ses anciennes vidéos. Mais au final, peut-être qu'il vaut mieux pour elle de continuer à sortir ses projets dans son coin plutôt que d'être prise dans cette spirale médiatique dans laquelle elle était coincée pendant toutes ces années. Si vous êtes arrivé jusqu'ici, je vous en remercie. N'hésitez pas à me faire vos retours dans l'espace commentaire. C'était Cléor, peut-être à une prochaine fois.